welcome to episode 15 of Brunch with Besties. Of course, you have Sherry Renee and my beautiful co-host,
Chanel.
Yes, and today's episode is called Bliggity Black.
Bliggity Black. I'm
Bliggity
black.
Oh, God, I can't. Okay, so of course, we always start with a toast. So who are you going to toast to today?
I'm going to toast to the Breakfast Club, and they mentioned this morning, that they're doing a change for change, and I thought it was relevant with what we're talking about. They are doing a change for change, like, radiothon. So they'll be on air from 6 a.m. to midnight, taking donations, and it's going to support the Gathering for Justice. And that includes Colin Kaepernick's organization, Harry Belafonte's organization, and the Women's March, I believe.
How long does it last?
It's gonna start November 16th.
Okay.
So right in time when this airs.
Yes.
So that's when it's gonna start. But they, DJ Envy actually said that they would be starting taking donations ASAP. So if they have the number, that you can give them a text. You can text change to 52182 to donate. Again, so if you would like to donate to Change for Change, you can text change, the word change, to 52182.
Awesome. And we'll post that as well.
Yeah.
My toast goes to Bridget.
Awesome.
To Bridget Robinson. So one of our faithful listeners. So the other day I was just looking at some of our SoundCloud data, and it said that we had listens from Twitter, and I was like, how, Sway?
Right.
We ain't on Twitter.
Sure not.
How is this happening? And so I went to go investigate, and I saw that she had been posting and people had been listening from Twitter. So I just thought that it was pretty cool and pretty awesome that she would use her platform to try to grow ours.
Absolutely.
So shouts out to Bridget.
Yay, thank you, B.
Real MVP.
You are a bestie.
Yes. And you know, she has a million things going on with herself, but I was like, look at her just still thinking about us.
Yes, we love it. Thank you. We appreciate you.
So shouts out to Bridget.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now let's go ahead and break bread. So what's going on with you?
Girl, the same old. I feel like there is really nothing really going on. Just looking forward to Thanksgiving. That's coming up, so that's exciting.
Yeah. For me, not too much. I'm ready for, so at my job, we have what we call shutdown.
Oh, yeah.
Which is where we take off.
It starts at Thanksgiving? It starts that early?
It starts around Christmas.
Oh,
and it
yeah.
goes until New Year's. So it's like having an additional week or two of vacation.
Mm-hmm.
So it turns out really nice because you don't have to use your vacation time, but you still get paid for it.
Dope.
But yeah, it's called shutdown, and I'm ready for that to happen.
You and me both, because as an educator, we get our break too. It's cracking. This year is so crazy because typically I'll come back to work on my birthday. That's usually when the students start back. But this year, like I have that whole weekend on my birthday like off.
Yes,
like we don't go back until the following week. So I'm like cracking.
Good.
So yeah.
Okay, so let's get into tea time. So like I said, this episode is called Bliggity Black.
Bliggity Black.
That is so funny to me. So where did that come from?
So wait, I'm trying to think. Was it in? Okay, so the dude who played in Jason's Lyric, I don't know what his name is. I think it's like Michael Payne or something, whatever his name is. But he played in Jason's Lyric, and I want to say it's from CB4, the movie.
Okay.
So it came from CB4. Or was it from Don't Be a Menace? I don't remember. It's one of these like funny, like silly movies. And he's just on a rant, like I'm black, I'm bigly black, I'm black, I'm bigly, like just going in on it. And it's hilarious, but it's so true. Like he has on this like kente cloth hat, and you know he's all blacked out. So it's hilarious, but it's very relevant in the world we live in today. And I think it's important to recognize that
it is CB4.
You know, oh, it was CB4.
Yeah,
okay.
CB4.
I'm like, it was one of those movies. So if you've ever seen CB4, you would know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But it's just hilarious, and it's absolutely relevant in what we're talking about today on our pod and what's going on in the world today. It's important. Black power is important right now.
Yes. So just to start off, how do you identify yourself in terms of, so I know for me, like before I'm a woman, before any other title or whatever, I'm black.
Yeah. I would agree. And it's interesting because, you know, on many papers and census type stuff that you have to fill out, it'll say African American. But in my heart of hearts, it's just like I can't, identify to that because I don't know my African side. And I would think that would kind of be deceiving to those people who are in America who actually are Africans who live in America.
Yes.
So they own that hyphenation of African American. But for me, I identify as Black, and I feel like Black has a culture. Like, we have heritage, we have culture. So yeah, I would totally identify with just being Black, and that's it.
Yeah. So I agree. I think that we tried to create some culture, but I don't think that we have it in the sense that, well, not in the sense that other people do, I guess.
Yeah. That's true.
So yeah, because one of the things that's so interesting about African Americans, and I'm using air quotes, is the fact that obviously we didn't immigrate. We're not immigrants, right? We didn't come over here like other people did, and other people get to be like Irish American or something like that.
The
but
hyphen.
The fact that we have to be African American kind of just goes to show that our culture and our history is lost. The fact that we have to identify to a whole continent.
Right.
So it's not even a country.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whereas other people can at least identify their roots.
Right.
We're just like, yeah, that whole continent over there.
Right.
Yeah, that's somewhere around there. That's y'all.
Yeah, which is so crazy.
Yeah.
To think about
So
that.
It means that there's a very limited explanation of our history. So
I agree.
So yeah, and so with that, there's no tradition, no language, no culture, no food, none of that.
In a sense.
At least not from our ancestors.
Right. Not from those countries in Africa.
There's stuff that we made up.
True.
Even our names, right? Like my last name is some plantation owner's name,
right?
So it's like even our name, So I agree that we do have food and music and things like that, but it's stuff that we created,
right? From scratch, basically.
From scratch.
So yeah, but it is what it is nonetheless. Like, I can't knock Black culture because right now, I mean, it's popping. Everybody wants to be a part of Black culture, and it is what it is. Now, I'm definitely proud of it because it could be something else. But I feel like Black people are very creative and ingenious. Like, we think of a lot of stuff and we kind of are resilient and we roll with the punches. So the culture we do have.
I would agree. I mean, and that's the thing because, like at work, they're always like, oh, Sherry, you're so this and you're so great. And I tend to do well. But I think part of that is because I've had to learn how to make stuff happen with very limited resources, So there's nothing that you can give me that I'm going to be like, oh, no, I can't do that.
Yep.
I'm always going to find a way to figure it out.
Absolutely.
Because we've been doing that forever.
Cardi B voice. Forever. Making $1 out of 15 cents. Forever.
15 cents.
Yes.
But the thing that I have a hard time understanding is why other groups fear us. You know what I mean? Because of the fact that we were literally brought over here. Our people were raped. My grandfather literally only has a 6th grade education because where he was from, Black people were not allowed to learn beyond the 6th grade. Same thing with his mother. So my great grandmother, 6th grade education. Wow. You know what I mean? So it's like the effects of slavery still live on, right? But for some reason, other groups fear us. And it's crazy because, again, we're the oppressed people.
Right.
And typically when we see, so recently there's been a lot of like mass shootings and things like that. Like, that's not us.
Yeah.
Not to say that we should fear any group, but
right.
I guess what I'm trying to say is why?
Why? Right. And I'm not sure if we'll be able to answer that question on this pod, but we can kind of think about just the I guess I'm gonna be blunt, just the stupidness of it. Like, it's really stupid. Like, I was trying to think of a clever word, I couldn't. It's really dumb when you think about it. Like, you really have this hatred in your heart for a group of people because of the color of their skin, because it doesn't make us any different. We still bleed the same. Our organs, depending on how healthy you are or whatever, I mean, we have the same stuff. Like, nothing makes us different than the pigment in our skin, and that's really it. And I mean, if you think about it, I mean, our white brothers and sisters, y'all can get some pigment too if you go tanning. It can happen. So I mean, if you want our skin color, it's out there for you. So I don't understand what the hatred is all about. But just it's funny that we're even doing this episode in 2017, and we are just a few days away from 2018, and we're still talking about the racial divide in America at this point in time. And I think about when I was a kid, back in the 90s, when I was a kid, and you would be at school and you're like, wow, in the year 2000, we're going to be flying cars, and just having this idea what the future was going to be like. And I would have never, if somebody would have told me that, 45 would be president, and we would still be doing this racial stuff.
So I thought that was a dream, actually, because when the election and stuff happened, I was like falling asleep, but the TV was on. And so I saw...
Girl, that was a nightmare. It was a dream.
Right. I saw that happened. But then I was like, oh, this can't be real. And I just turned over.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I know this ain't real.
My mom's playing tricks on me.
And then I woke up and I was like, oh, God, no.
Why? That's awful. Yeah, it was really bad. And it was so bad. Okay, so I have two things to say. So it was bad because I was in North Carolina and I was teaching like first grade, and they were really sad about it. Like they came to school and they were just like, oh my God. Like, and it was a big Hispanic population that I taught out there, and they were all like, my family's going to be deported. And it was really sad. And I'm like, oh my God, like, what do I tell these kids? Like, no, like your families are fine. Like, don't worry. And then for my own son, like he was upset, like, oh my God, like Donald Trump is like, he was really mad about it. These are kids, like 7, 8-year-olds, like upset that this person is the leader of the free nation. The other thing I was going to say to this 245, because I'm not going to say his name. There's no respect on your name over here for me. But just Back to the Future. Have you ever seen Back to the Future? Oh my God. I think it's the second one, when Biff became like this multi-million. This is what's happening in real life. You see it?
Yeah.
This is what's happening in real life. Like, Donald Trump is Biff, and he went back to the future and stole the almanac, and now we in this mess. Like, oh my goodness. So I'm thinking whoever wrote Back to the Future, was that Steven Spielberg? He must have like a crystal ball or something. Like he saw that this was gonna happen.
There was also a Simpsons episode where Donald Trump was president. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I'm just like,
it was crazy.
This
the foreshadowing.
Foreshadow, huh? No. But yeah, it's unfortunate because in 2017, like and it's not only him, so I'm not gonna blame him in whole of the racial divide that we're having, but he has ignited a lot of it. But those people who have a problem were there.
I was gonna say, I think that they were there.
They were there.
I think that he is saying what he genuinely feels.
Absolutely.
And thinks, and people have gotten brave,
absolutely,
to stand up and say what they think.
Absolutely.
But I think that it was kind of something that people would kind of ignore or kind of
or just brush under the rug. I'm a closet racist.
Right.
So yeah. But now, I mean, and I don't disagree with them for coming out. Hey, by all means, show it.
And
tell
that's
me
too. Come out.
Yeah, come on out. Tell me, because again, we are not our ancestors, and we will beat your ass. I want to say that we're not. So let's be clear with that. And we don't want to beat your ass, but if push come to shove, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. But it's really unfortunate, and I'm praying for our country. I mean, that's what we can do. And hopefully, some legislation moves along where we can get him up out of here. That's the hope. What are we? Did we even make it a year? Like we are at a year now. This been the longest year ever.
Yeah. Well, elections are usually around
this time.
So yeah, it's been about a year. But yeah, but obviously we are not condoning any violence or anything of that nature.
But
it would be great if we could have an open discussion and open dialogue. So if any of our listeners want to weigh in on the conversation, especially if you're of another race, we would be open to hearing your thoughts and just trying to get an understanding, because that's what this pod is really about. healing and helping others while we heal and help ourselves. So, we're open to hearing your ideas and exchanging thoughts.
Absolutely.
And things like that. But like I said, there's just a lot of things that I think that we don't feel that we understand, kind of even in the sense of the police, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people have made comments when Black people get pulled over and they end up being shot. They'll say like, oh, why didn't they just give them their license, or why didn't they just do this, or why were they so upset or so rowdy and things like that. And I think that people don't understand how inconvenient it is to be harassed by the police. We were recording at Everyday Media a couple weeks ago, and I got pulled over twice. I'm just trying to go home
in the same night.
And it's crazy because, it's late. I think we left Everyday Media around maybe 10.
It was like 10.
11. And I live far, I live very far. The expressway was down, so I was forced to take the streets all the way home. Got pulled over twice. And after I got pulled over the first time, I called Chanel and I'm like, can you believe da-da-da-da-da? And then I get pulled over again while I'm on the phone with her. And I'm telling her, I'm like, there's a police officer. I hit Pewaukee. Here's another police officer. And then I'm like, she's driving on the side of me. She's trying to look in my vehicle. She's behind me.
Right.
She's flashing her lights, And she was literally looking for a reason to pull me over. Like, because remember at first she was like, well, I thought that you were texting and driving, but then I realized that it was your GPS.
Right.
And then she was like, oh, I thought that I saw you flash your light, so I thought maybe you needed help. Can you license and registration and proof of insurance? Well, and I'm telling her I don't need your help.
Right.
And you see that it's my GPS. So why are you pulling me over? And
right.
then not only that, but again, it's already late. I'm just trying to get home, but now it's taking me an extra hour because y'all want to pull me over twice.
Right.
And I'm just trying to go home. But every time I hit Pewaukee or Waukesha, I get pulled over.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. It's ridiculous.
And it makes me think.
It's frustrating.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pissed.
It really is. And it's unfortunate again. And it makes me wonder that if you were a Black man, would they have, like, made you get out the car, like, taking extra steps with you? You know what I'm saying? Like, being a female, like, okay, it's one thing. And by all means, we've seen it in the headlines of police officers being extra with Black women as well. But it's just like, why?
And that's the thing, too, like, using this excessive force and things like that. Like, why do we need to do that when we've seen you dismantle or de-escalate situations where people are actually shooting,
and that's what you're trained to do. That's what they're trained
like
to
people
do.
Could be actively shooting and somehow you manage to de-escalate that situation, but you can have an unarmed person. So police officers, if you're listening,
yes,
please
we
slide
hear
in the
you.
DM
Please
or
do.
email us. We would love to have you on the pod so we can have a healthy conversation and get an understanding.
Absolutely. And I think, I'm sorry, sidebar, but Chance the Rapper was just at Assembly Council in Chicago, and they were trying to pass like a $95 million, I don't know if it was a bill, but $95 million for the police academy. And he was there with the regular Chicago people like, no, like, why do we need to spend $95 million on the police academy when the police have been doing the most? Like, we don't need to spend that excessive amount of money on that. What we need to do is we need to put it in schools and education funding. Like, that's where that money should go. So it's interesting that he was advocating for that, because I agree. I mean, the police departments in all areas, they need to do some restructuring.
They, in my opinion, they need to throw the whole thing away
Throw
and
it all
start
in the
over
trash,
and
yeah.
call it something else.
Yeah.
I'm serious. And the reason why I'm saying that is because, so, you and I were talking yesterday, and so I was doing a little bit of research, and it was talking about how initially police were created as slave patrollers and night watchers, right? And then it later became modern day police departments. So if the original intent was to control the behavior of minorities,
right,
then I think that has a lot to do with our current relationship.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
If, why are we targeted? Well, that was the original intent.
That was our plan, yeah.
So I think that the original intent has manifested greatly.
Oh, yeah.
Right? If that was the original intent, then that explains everything today, right? They're doing what they were taught to do. That's their foundation.
That's it. That's what
right?
it is.
And we're behaving the way that we were back then as runaway slaves.
Yeah.
You know?
Basically.
Right?
Absolutely.
Because back then they were out to get us, and today that's what it feels like.
That is what it feels like.
And also I just want to say, obviously this is not all police officers.
No.
We do not want to make any generalizations.
No.
There are some great
Absolutely,
and amazing, heroic officers who are protecting and serving.
Absolutely. Living up to the badge.
Right. But there's a few that give you guys a bad name.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's my personal opinion that they literally need to throw that whole thing away, start new, call it something else, new brand, new people, new initiatives, new mission, new vision,
everything,
and
throw
really,
it all in the trash.
Right, and really protect and serve.
I feel you, but if we don't do that, then we need to throw the whole country away. Like, just throw the whole country in the trash. Because we, it in the Constitution. Like, I mean, albeit there are amendments in the Constitution, but still, like, that foundation is Black people were thought of as property. So
right, exactly.
We just need to throw the whole country in the trash.
And honestly, it's my opinion, until those things are addressed, like, we're still operating under these old constitutions, these old laws, and these old rules. And I think that that's why, even though it's 2017, even though we had a Black president, even though we've made all these great strides, that's why we still have this type of relationship. And it's crazy because, they say that people are interracially dating, and there's a lot of interracial babies and whatever. It's so hard for me how it's such a big contradiction, because how can that happen when we're so divided? Like, how are we having kids together, marrying each other, doing all of this, but we're so divided?
That's absolutely a future topic we want to touch on in a future episode. That is I don't think this is great segue, but again, and we've talked about this before, like having our preference of a Black man, like, just having to walk on eggshells around somebody that I love, like, that would be too hard for me to do that. Or just if their family doesn't understand, like, it's so many layers to that where I don't think I would feel comfortable. And again, this is not to say, anything negative to those people. I mean, love is love. Love who you love. We're not saying, you should choose. But for me personally, that would be really tough. And it makes me think about Something New, like the movie Something New, like, albeit he was very innocent and he loved her, like, you can tell, but she was very uncomfortable at first. And that's kind of how I would feel, like, just even like when she took her weave out, he was like, what happened to your hair? Like, this is too much now. So it's just wow. But I heard something like that too, like by the year 2020, like most of the population would be like mixed, multiracial. Yeah.
And so it's just weird, because it's like, how is that happening when we can't even get along?
Right. It's really, and I'm sure it's tough for those people who are interracially married or dating, just to be in this world together, like those genuinely good people. And it's just like, well, do they have to pick sides, or like, what's going on? Like, it's a lot. It's too much. And my heart goes out to them, because that's a lot to have to deal with. Especially the children too, who come out and they want to identify with one side, but then what about the other side? It's just a lot. Like, that's a lot.
Definitely. And actually, excuse me, one of our guests on the domestic violence episode, he was of mixed race, and that's what he was saying, is that, that was part of his identity issue.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, not Black enough for them, but I don't fit in with them, or I don't fit in with this person or that like, that's too much.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's unfortunate. It is. It really is. But that's the world we live in today, and we gonna pray.
Yeah.
That's what we can do.
I think it even stems into, so it's I think the reason why I always identify as Black before anything else is because, well, number one, it's physical, right? So other races can blend in. You know what I mean? Not all of them, obviously, but some of them can blend in. And then even for those who can't, it's not as overt, I guess, as we stand out, Yeah. Like, it's easy to pick me out in the crowd, and it also, it's followed me through life. You know what I mean? At work, in school, everywhere I go.
Yeah.
That's me.
Hey,
You know?
listen. My sentiments exactly, and I guess I spoke to this when we first started. But being black is just, to me, it's an amazing blessing. As hard as it is every day to be a black woman in this country, I wouldn't trade it
Oh, I would
for
never trade
anything
it.
in this world.
Yeah.
I would not trade being a black woman for anything in this world. And like I said, right now being black is popular. Like black culture appropriation is popular.
Trendy.
It's trendy. And you know, right now it's popping. It's on the upswing. Like I feel like it's so much, and in a good way. And I will say, I feel like more people have recognized the amazingness that comes with being black, either black men or black women. I feel like there's so much positivity around it, like Black Girl Magic, Black Boy Joy, Black by popular demand. So shout out to all these people who are putting it in your face to love what you are and to love this culture. And I feel like for a moment, like we kind of lost that. Like I feel like there was a momentum, like in the 60s, 70s, Black Power, like Fist, Black Panthers, like it was awesome. And then it was kind of like a slowdown, like black wasn't cool. But now it's kind of on an uprising again, where we do want to blatantly put it in your face that black is dope.
Yeah, I think it's cyclical, right? So I think it's like a trend, like bell bottoms, right? It goes and it comes back, and it goes and it comes back. Because I remember my mom had a lot of these shirts with black women and with their hair braided and things like that, you know. And it was like, what did it say? Oh, a lot of them just said black is beautiful. Yeah, black is beautiful, I believe is what it said.
Yeah, I feel like it was a big push in the 90s too. Like 90s black people were up. But I feel like now it is too.
But I think the reason why I'm stressing that, in my opinion, it's more of a trend is because there's only certain parts of it that people accept. You know, it's like like, oh, the music. You know what I mean? Or oh, the athletes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as people,
right,
there's still a great divide.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you know, we want to appropriate this, you know, but I don't want to take everything that comes with it.
Right, not that, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't want it. Like, yeah, it's tough, but again, it's something that I wouldn't trade for the world. Just being black and having a black son and watching him grow, like, I feel like it's really amazing.
Yeah.
And I feel like any culture or any group of people should feel like that about their people. I'm sure.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, like you should feel like, wow, like I'm really glad to be whatever you are, X, Y, and Z. So
yeah, I would definitely agree. And then I would also say, but also appreciate other people's culture.
That's true.
I know we do.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, I know we do.
We do. So, and that's where
but
you would think
the appropriation.
Without the appropriation.
Crazy?
Don't be disrespectful. So yeah. But that's where we should be going as a country. Like, this is America. It's the mixing pot. Like, it's not any one group dominant over another. Like, we need to respect everybody's culture and their differences, and, you know, like, praise that. Like, respect everybody's differences, but be respectful of their differences, if that makes sense.
Right. And just like we talked about on our last episode, where we had a listener say, how do you guys get along when you're so different? Well, because we respect it, you know.
Yep.
And it's also because your gift is usually in your difference.
Yep.
You know, if we're all the same, then who cares about Sherry Renee?
Right. 10
other people could do this, right?
Yeah.
So it's about your difference. I say praise your difference,
because that would be weird.
I wouldn't trade it.
Me either.
For
like,
anything.
it's just awesome. Like, I love it.
It's so much a part of who I am.
Yeah. And it's funny.
And even though there's a lot of even though I do feel like there's a lot of things that become a fight, like going to school, getting, you know, trying to educate yourself, trying to land the job. Like, you have to be so much better than the competition, because what you're missing is the connection, right? Because I remember when I first graduated from college, I went on interviews 3 or 4 a week, and it was always, oh, no, you were great, but such and such was a better fit. And I was thinking, like, yeah, I know what that means.
Yeah, right.
You know? But at the end of the day, I still wouldn't trade it. You know, I would never trade it.
Because there's strength in the struggle. So anytime you've had to go through something, as black people, we've gone through everything you could possibly think of. And it just makes us stronger and stronger. And that strength alone is like, wow, like I have this within me. Like,
and that's why we don't flinch at certain things. It's like, yeah, all right,
right,
we'll figure it out.
And that's why most of us work is hard too, because it's like, who are you to like sit down and be a nothing when you know how many people had to fight for what you got or all this stuff. So it really makes you think in hindsight, like, okay, let me not be lazy, or let me, do what all these people who fought for, I can't let their life be in vain. Like, I really got to get myself together. So that's what I always think about too.
Definitely. Yeah.
But this is so funny. This is a different segue, but I was thinking, we're talking about race in America, and that's racism as far as like other racial groups. But I will say, before we can fix, that inner problem with America as a whole, Black people, we got some stuff to fix too within our own community, as far as like colorism and classism is concerned. And I think if we want America to see us as this unit, we need to start acting like it in our own communities.
I would agree.
Because it's kind of hard to be like, well, you don't respect us or you think this of us, but then we turn around and do it to each other. It doesn't really make sense. So that's definitely something that we need to do. And the Shade Room posted a video, and it's about this young lady talking about being dark skinned, and she was just like, I never thought I was beautiful because I'm dark skinned. And but then Danielle Brooks, who plays on Orange is the New Black, recorded a video back to her like, you know what, I am you. Like, I felt this way too. Mm-hmm. And every day that I work, I'm doing it for you, to let you know that you are beautiful, right? Just because you're dark skinned. And I think we talked about this before on another pod of ours, but it's just really important. And that made me think about all of this, that, we got to take care of each other. Black men and Black women need to take care of each other.
But I also think that there's reasons why.
Oh yeah.
Why it is,
girl. Give me a history lesson.
We didn't just decide.
we didn't choose that. But like you said,
it's the result of a lot of things that happened historically.
Absolutely.
Right? And so those are the result. This is the residue from that. But I would agree that we do need to band together. And I would like to think that lately I've been seeing a lot of Black people uplift each other and celebrate each other, and I think the Milwaukee Podcast Festival was actually a good representation of that.
It was awesome.
Everybody just cheering for each other.
Yes, it was awesome.
Not necessarily thinking like you taking my spot and things like that. Even though we kind of gave Everyday Douche at Everyday Media a little bit of heat on some other stuff.
We did,
but
but it's all in love.
That's just what it is.
Yes. That's how we show we love you.
Exactly.
That's our love
language.
That's
what we always trying to say. Yeah,
that's our love language. To be crazy.
What's your love language? Crazy.
No. That's my love language.
No,
but that's true.
I would agree.
So shout out
I also
to them.
think that's things that are taught. So I think parents have to do a better job of teaching their kids. Tell all the girls, regardless of which shade they are, you are beautiful.
And like you said, that does start in the house, to be like, you're beautiful.
And I also think that a lot of people before used to try to claim that they were partially another race or something like that.
Oh yeah,
to make themselves beautiful. Like, oh, I'm this, I'm that. But for me, I was just like, it's crazy how we keep claiming all these other races, right? Like, oh, I'm part Indian, I'm part Mexican, I'm part whatever. But it's like, why aren't we understanding that the common denominator is the Black? So your Black is beautiful.
It is beautiful.
So you can mix it with whatever you want.
Listen, I'm Black, no cream, no sugar, just straight Black. So yeah, but that's important. If we're gonna have this conversation, and we, like you said, we need to have honest, open conversations about just the racial divide in general, as far as our country is concerned, and then an open and honest conversation with each other. Like, how can we improve the Black community? How can we fix the Black household? What can we do to band more together? And I think there are leaders in our country who are doing that, and they're out there like trying to make a difference and change the narrative of where this country is going. So
definitely, it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, and it's so crazy that it's still, I guess, I don't know, it's still happening, but and that sparks me more to want to travel abroad and go to other countries and kind of see, because I mean, all I know is America. This is it. But I'm really looking forward to getting out there and exploring other countries, because it's hard to be living in this country, and it doesn't matter where you go, like everywhere is pretty much the same. It might be a little more lenient or a little worse, but America is what it is. But to just see other countries, and I know like we claim America's the greatest country in the world, and hey, I don't know, but I would like to see and kind of compare, see what else is out there in the world.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's always funny to me, like when I meet professionals for the first time who I've worked with, like via the phone or via email, like they're always shocked. Like I can see it on their face, because I know that they thought I was white.
Oh, they're always shocked that you're black.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, I can see it. I mean, they don't have a choice at that point.
Yeah, no. Well, here I am.
But
so,
yeah, I'm here.
Right.
And you want this business or not?
Exactly. Or not. So you can choose.
So I mean, they don't have a choice but to roll with it.
Yeah.
But and not to even make it seem like they necessarily have a problem with it.
Right.
But I know that their initial assumption is always that I'm white.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I
think I've gotten that a lot too. And it's funny because even from like family members growing up, and they would always be like, well, you talk white and you're so proper, but it's just like, well, this is what I am. Like, right. I am what I am, and I'm sorry that I went to school and I did what I was supposed to do, and, you know, stuff like that. But I feel like that happened to me in the workplace as well, where it's just like, well, you're not like them.
Right. Yeah.
It's just like, well, them, what do you mean? Like, do tell.
Yeah.
What is like them? So yeah, it's just like, don't put me on a pedestal. Like, no, like, I mean, I can't compare, you know, another racial person to the next one. Like, no, nobody's the same. Like, we're all different. So
exactly.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't put me on a pedestal, or don't try to make me seem like I'm a savior to my whole race. Like, no.
Right. And that's the other thing too, because I think sometimes within our own community, it's, oh, well, you think because you went to school and you did this. No, you think
right
because I went to school and
right.
I did this and I did that I'm better than you. I don't.
I never
because
said
every
that.
day when I walk outside, I'm bliggity black.
We the same. Bliggity black. The same. Listen,
the same.
Like, you can't tell us from
anybody else. And you shouldn't have to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And on the flip side, like, when you do encounter other races and they kind of give you the side eye, and it's just like, listen, I got about 10 degrees. Like, I'm out here doing it big. And it's just like, you can still be processed in whatever stereotype they have, which is so unfortunate.
I will say too, I've had those situations where like, for example, when I was at the car dealership and I was buying my car, nobody was paying me no attention until they found out where I worked, because then that meant that I had education and blah blah blah. But I was thinking, like, you know what, you don't, I'm a customer, you know,
treat everybody the same,
period.
Man,
this money is the same regardless.
It's right, it's green, it's gonna spin,
it's gonna spin the same.
Oh my goodness, that's so crazy.
Yeah, every day I'm black.
Every day.
Every day.
Can't change it. Every day black.
Day. Right. Like, everyday media, everyday black.
Black. And listen, I love it. So I ain't gonna change it. But yeah, those of you who are listening, we definitely want to, like, this can be an ongoing conversation forever and ever.
Yeah, so calling all, I would love to hear from a black police officer, a white police officer, even a white listener who's just open to having an open conversation about race.
Yeah, and I think Charlamagne the God, he said that a lot while all this stuff has been going on. But he's like, you know, all white people are not bad, and we never want to give that impression that we believe that, because there are some really great people. But we're like, if you see all this injustice going on and you're white and you're not speaking out about it, then to me, that's a problem. Like, you gotta speak out on what's happening, and you gotta let, you know, others know that, no, this is not okay. Like, we don't stand for this either. And those of you who have done that, you're marching and you're out there, thank you. Like, we see it and we thank you for being a part of the cause and to combat this injustice that's happening in our country.
Yeah, because I have seen on Instagram some white people taking a knee.
Yes. So thank you.
Shouts out to
all
y'all.
of that. Or people who are, boycotting and just out there every single day. I mean, I can't thank you enough. Like, it definitely gives me chills when I think about it. Because it's awesome to really be out there fighting for what you know is right.
Right, like, because if we're going to claim to be America, then let's really be America.
Let's band together.
Which is a melting pot, which is freedom, which is acceptance of everybody.
Everybody.
So if we going to be Americans, then be Americans.
Listen, everybody.
You can't pick and choose.
Right, because if you were going to, I need you to go to a different country.
Right.
You don't pick and
can't
choose.
be hot or cold.
No,
a hot or cold Christian.
No,
I mean a lukewarm. Right,
no.
you either this,
you
in or you out.
You is or you ain't.
You is or you ain't.
It's very simple. So yeah, shout out to them. But
I also think, to be fair, one of the things that my dad would always say to me about his church that he went to before he opened his own church, he would always say, I'm not saying that people are right or wrong, but I'm telling you that this is how they were taught. And so his church was really old fashioned in the sense of women shouldn't wear makeup, they should have their hair covered, they should wear dresses, things like, you should see my parents' wedding photo, okay?
Lord.
They were saved, sanctified, and filled with the Holy Ghost.
Hey, listen. They gave each other like a Christian hug. They wasn't even hugging each other in the wedding pictures. Like, nope.
But so I would come, like if my dad was preaching, I would come to support or whatever. And when I come, wherever I come as me.
Listen,
okay?
She come to slay.
I come
every time.
as Sherry Renee.
Listen, to slay.
Because I'm not going to put on.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So that on Sunday, most of the times I do wear a dress or a skirt or something of that nature. But I'm going to come with my bright red lipstick. My hair will not be covered. Matter of fact, it's going to be like 18 inches.
Listen.
It might be blonde. Right. Like I'm going to come bedazzled, Hey. I'm going to have on some 6-inch heels. Right. I'm coming as me.
You. That's who you are.
So,
absolutely. Because if I come, he wouldn't look like that guy.
But
this ain't that.
So this one particular day I came because Dad was preaching and I wanted to come support Dad. So I'm there and they was like, we need to pray for Deacon Brian's daughter. And I was like, hold on.
So bad they called you out.
So I almost acted Bliggity black in the church.
At church.
And it's crazy because at the time I was actually a Sunday school teacher at my church. So I'm like, so that just goes to show that you should not put people in a box. You don't know who anyone is.
That's true.
Regardless of your race or what you look like or whatever. We just shouldn't be classifying people at all, period. Because you don't know who's amongst you. You really don't. And so, that really did something to me.
Yeah.
And so, my dad basically said, I'm not. Yeah, they judged you.
Right.
And yes, we shouldn't be judging people. He was like, but what I want you to understand so that you can stop being so upset about this is that's how they were taught. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that that's one thing that we have to realize about race. And that's what has gotten me through some, some weird situations where I'm being put in because of my race. And I'm like, you know what? That's they don't know no better. Yeah. Like that's what things like that are passed down.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's what they were taught.
So crazy.
And all people were not taught that. That's why you have some people who are more than accepting and they just want to get to know you or they just ain't thinking about you at all. You just a regular person to them and they just don't care. They're just going about their day.
That's true.
And that's it. They ain't thinking about you or your race.
Yep.
They just want to buy, they just want to go to the grocery store and move on.
And mind their own business.
Mind their own business. Hey. And shouts out to them.
Please, yes. Praise you people who mind your own business. I feel like I say that so much during the day, just as an educator and, kids. I just, all day, I'm like, mind your own business. Mind your business. It's on my desk. Like, mind your business. It's on my desk at work. Like, please. I'm serious. Mind your own business. But yeah, shout out to those people.
Yeah, but I do think that sometimes we do become paranoid because of the situations that have happened to us in the past.
That's true.
And so sometimes are, we might be assuming that people are racist, excuse me, and maybe they're not. Maybe they just had a bad day.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe you went through the checkout line and the guy wouldn't speak to you or touch your hand or whatever, and you think he's being racist, but he just don't care.
Right.
He's ready for his shift to be over.
He could be sick with germs. He don't want to touch you. It's okay.
Right.
Yeah, that is true. Black people... And sometimes we had that bad. Like, we try to make everything out to be, like, racial.
Remember at Nadia's bachelorette
Oh, goodness. Hilarious story. Oh, my God. So, here's the story. So, we're out at an establishment. I ain't going to say what it is. But we're out at this establishment, and mind you, it's her bachelorette party, so we are faded. Like,
yeah, this was
everybody.
So this was a while ago, I think. So this was maybe 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, 6 years ago.
So we're trashed out, and we're just being rowdy and crazy. I feel like we was in there probably OC.
Okay.
From what I was faded, so maybe you need to tell the story. Yeah, I know I was trash.
Well, I'm not a real big drinker, so I'm usually the one who pretty much knows what's going on.
Yeah,
but no,
I was trash.
I guess I'm trying to figure out.
They were closing.
She didn't have her. I think either they were closing.
Cause she got in, we was in.
Yeah,
we were in.
Closing. Yeah, they were closing, and so they were basically asking us to leave because they were closing.
They were closing.
Like it was already past time for us to go, and she was like, "Is it because we black?"
And she clapped her hands like after every word. Is it?
And the guy that she asked was black,
a big black guy, and he was like, "Really, bro? Like,
oh God,
that's what you're doing." But good time. So yeah, you can't make
everything
everything a racial issue when an establishment is closing, like they're trying to leave. But good times nonetheless, and we always make fun of her about that. So yeah, sometimes it is what it is, and it's not always a racial.
Right, it's not
issue. People trying to mind their own business. That's it.
Right.
So,
or it's just something else going on. Maybe they're just having a bad day, and it doesn't matter what color you were. They were just having a bad day.
Yeah, we all been there, Lord. So, but yeah, and that's the whole reason why we wanted to do this Bliggity Black episode. Because there is a lot of room for discussion and, change to happen. And I feel like there was just a huge election in our country, which allotted to a lot of change. So I feel like, albeit we're dealt this card, but the nation is still moving. It's still going. Things are still happening.
Right. And I say use it to your advantage.
Absolutely.
One thing I can say about me at work is because I'm black, I stand out.
Yeah.
So I stand out. So they all know who I am.
Yeah.
Yep. So
use that.
Yep. Use it to your advantage.
Use that.
I won't blend in because I can't.
Yep. And I wouldn't if I wanted to.
Exactly.
No, I'm me.
Yep, I can't. And so for that reason, I'll make sure that I stand out for good reasons.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Because they won't let you forget if it's anything bad. You come to work to a meeting late or something, they ain't gonna let you live it down. Like, they'll be looking at her like, you're late all the time. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I'm trying to think of my job, but no, I work at a school now where it's a lot of us. So I feel
it ain't a lot. It's
great.
Us. Actually, a lot of times when I'm in meetings, I'm also the only woman.
Oh wow!
Like I'll look around and I'll be like, huh.
Right.
Like I just want to go home.
Right. I just want to go home. I'm the only sister and I'm the only female. Right. It's crazy. Yeah, no, I'm not in that. I've never been in that situation. So that would be interesting. But again, use it to your advantage.
Fields,
yeah.
Different fields.
Different, absolutely.
I definitely use it to my advantage. Another problem that I do have with some of us though is that some of us, because we had to struggle, we're not willing to help anyone else. Like we think that because we had to struggle that they should have to literally do the same struggle instead of thinking I struggle so that you don't have to. You know what I mean? So while I do think that some struggle is good, you know what I mean, paying your dues, things like that, And then that way you don't take things for granted. But when you have the opportunity to help someone,
right,
you should just
you
do
should.
it.
Somebody
And
open the door for you.
I've been seeing a lot of people do that recently.
Oh,
though.
good.
Yep, just really just like, like Bridget. Shout out to her again.
Absolutely.
Just using her platform to help build ours. We didn't even ask.
Yeah,
but
at
look
all.
at God.
Look
and
at God.
Right.
Won't he do it?
Won't he do it?
Probably increased our listeners. Listen,
Right.
We'll take it. And I feel like I do that too. Just like people ask me stuff like, "Oh, where'd you get this?" Or how'd you get your license? Like I'm always like, "Hey, do this. I'm gonna show you where to go. Like I'm gonna help you get there because each one, teach one.
Right.
Hey, you got
Exactly.
to. So, that whole mentality of the crabs in the barrel. No, help me because somebody opened this door for you. Don't do that.
Exactly.
So yeah. Oh goodness, we gonna pray for everybody in the world because I'm just thinking about that. Like, how do you sleep at night? Like, not helping somebody. That's weird.
Yeah.
You
or trying to throw each other under the bus.
Yeah, you gotta be like a real evil person. Like, how do you sleep?
But I think that if that's what they were taught, it goes back to the teaching.
There you go.
If that's what they were taught, that, you got to compete, you got to outshine, then that's why people throw each other under the bus. That's why people don't want to help people. But I also think that shows their insecurity because you think that this person is coming for your spot.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
And that made me think about something. So my son plays basketball. And I feel like for AU at this age, it's pretty competitive. And I'm like, these are little kids. Like, really? Like, it's not even real. But I remember he was at a Warning game. And Warning is, like, gritty outside, summertime. So he's playing outside. And there was a young man on the basketball court. And his dad was just telling him, like, all this negative stuff. Like, beat them. Like, these boys gay. Like, you can play better than them. Like, just really telling his kid this, and we were all like, really, bro? Like, this is what you doing? Like, number one, these are kids and your son's not gonna get a check after this game. It's not real. And for two, it's just like, you should be like uplifting all the boys, like, yay, like, you're doing a great job, you had a good game. That just made me think of that. Like, I get it, you want your child to be successful, and if basketball is their thing, you want them to be good at it, but really, like, basketball is not the end all be all. Like, albeit if my kid wants to make it in the NBA, I'm not like, no, but we definitely have other plans. Like, what are you doing at school? Like, what is your mind like? Like, it's not just basketball. So yeah, we gotta uplift everybody, not just your kid or what you doing with your child. Like, no. Like, I just thought that was really crazy and disrespectful.
Right.
So.
And just celebrating each other's victories. Just like, I forget what that was, but there was an award show and Taraji P. Henson was like uber happy for who?
Oh, Viola Davis? Yeah. Yeah.
Like, she was like, yes.
Yes. I love that.
Like,
yes, because when one win, we all win.
Right, exactly.
Ultimately, like, we finna celebrate this together forever.
Right, and you know what? And if I didn't win, who better than you?
You, right. My sister, like, yeah, I'm taking it. Or even if it wasn't a sister, but if you're a female, like, one band, one town, like, we're banding together for that.
Right.
So, yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, we should all be able to relate to each other, on some level. So, whoever wins,
we all win.
Be happy for them.
Be happy.
And, ask them if you that mad about it, ask them, hey, help me. Like, I'm trying to get to where you are.
Listen, right.
Like, humble yourself.
Humble yourself. Like when we won that award in Upperbound. So listen, y'all, if y'all mad at us for winning that award, and it's been like 20 years later.
It's literally been like 20 years.
We apologize. We're so sorry. But
we wasn't even trying.
Listen here. I know, and I won the science award. I was not trying because I don't know what was going on that summer. I don't know how I won that award because my lotion burned. So I don't know what happened. So yeah.
That's funny.
It was all bad.
So for science, we had to make lotion. This was a long time ago.
Years ago.
Long time ago.
Yeah. And our lotion, no. That joint burned. I don't know what we went wrong somewhere in the chemistry thing. Like, it was
But
bad.
maybe it burned less than everybody else's.
Maybe so. I don't know. But I feel like maybe they was like, well, we can't have them win and then not the crew. Like, we were one band, one town. So I was like, well, we got to give it to her. So, yeah.
No, but and then also, if people are asking you for help, now, I agree that we shouldn't just be, you got to help people who are willing to help themselves. I have an amazing mentor, and so okay, I had a mentor. He's still my mentor, but he left the company, and before he left, he put me on to a great mentor. And she said, I don't just mentor anyone. She's like, so I looked at your files. So like she read like notes that my bosses have written about me. She looked at my past ratings and things like that, and she was like, I help people who help themselves, because oftentimes I find myself trying to help people and I want it more for them than they do. So it's like pulling dead weight.
Right.
They come to me with a bunch of excuses and they're willing to do no work. Right. So I agree that you shouldn't just be trying to put people on and they don't even want it. Right. So they got to have the fight in them as well. They have to be willing to invest in themselves. But I do think that, you also shouldn't just sit back and watch people struggle when they don't have to.
Yeah.
So if it's just, a little bit of advice like, hey, don't use, just for example, when we stopped by John Ray's shop, we were just explaining to her some things about the pod, and she's like, oh, use this person.
Yes.
Go here, go there. Just little stuff
she
like
definitely
that.
poured into
now,
us.
it's up to us to follow through
right.
and do it.
But, she led us to the water.
Right. Exactly.
So, yeah.
And since she did,
we've been popping.
we got all type of stuff.
We've been popping. So yeah, stay tuned for what's next with our pod. She ain't raised no fools now, so we out here trying to work, and we had some great people in our lives to kind of lead us. So yes, yeah,
definitely.
So our to-go box.
Yes. So what are you taking away? Or actually, before we get to that, we did have a question.
We did.
Ask a bestie.
Yay!
And the question was, actually they sent it to us and you answered it, but I felt like we should do it on air. The question was, wasn't there 4 y'all?
Oh,
it seems like there's only 2.
I did. Listen. So yeah, about that. No, I'm just kidding. There was 4 of us, and for personal and professional reasons, our 2 other besties decided that they would step down. And it was for the greater good of, for them and us moving forward with Brunch with Besties podcast. Are they still a part of Brunch with Besties and they support us? Absolutely. They do.
Absolutely. Our biggest fans.
Absolutely our biggest fans, and we love them, and whatever they have going on, we support them as well. Exactly. So it's not no Destiny's Child split up and we don't know. We see them. We were just at Nadia's house.
Yeah. For her gender reveal and everything.
They're still besties because we love them for real. Like, this is not just a name. Like, we ride together. So, yeah. But that was a great question. Yep, I did.
So that was our question.
Yeah.
And yeah, so what are our takeaways?
Whew, this was heavy. But heavy in a good way. And that's what I love about our podcast. Like, we talk about some deep stuff, but it don't feel like depressing. But yeah. So yeah, I would say just continuing to pray for our country and to know that there's a lot that needs to happen. But I feel like there are some great steps that are happening right now in our country. And just to continue to love myself being Black and understanding my role in this country, again, purpose. So yeah, that's what I'm taking away from this whole conversation.
And I would say for my to-go box, it's to encourage people to try to see people as individuals, which includes their race, because there's, the one thing I can't stand is when people say, I don't see color. Well, she's Black. Right. So you got to.
So what do you see? You don't see color. You blind out here.
No, but try to see them as an individual, which does include their race. It includes their race. So not diminishing their race, not excluding it, but acknowledging it, but just trying to really get an understanding. That's what the pod is about, right? Just trying to get an understanding. So I would encourage everyone to do that. And if you, and then I would always say, also say, check yourself, hey, am I, what am I contributing to in this society? Am I contributing to the divide, or am I contributing to a more inclusive society? And what can I do, even if it's in a small way? Right. What can I do? Because I know I at work, like, I'm more than inclusive. Right. Like, you can't be new on my floor and me not be like, hey, what's up? How you doing? Did
Right.
you do this? Do you know we have this, right? Like, now, if you choose not to engage, that's fine, because some people just don't like stuff like that. So that's cool. But I'm going to engage with you, because when I was the new girl here, and me being bliggity black, I was kind of out here cold.
Right.
So I don't care what color you are, what gender you are, how you identify, whatever. And I don't care who sees me with you, because I'm me.
Yeah.
You know, and
All
I'm
the
very
time.
confident in that. So
I feel you. So on that note, yeah. But I do want to reiterate, since we've talked about this whole episode and what you can do to help. But the Breakfast Club Change for Change seems like it's going to be pretty dope. And I think I'm going to try to donate something by texting change to 52182. And it's Change for Change. And it's starting Thursday, November 16th from 6 to midnight. So if you feel inclined to change the world, you can start by donating to Change for Change.
all right. So thanks for tuning in to Brunch with Besties. Until next time.
Peace. Thank you for listening to Brunch with Besties. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to shoot us an email at brunchwithbestiespodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram. Our handle is at brunchwithbestiespodcast. For right now, you can listen on SoundCloud. Be sure to review, subscribe, and comment. We appreciate it. Thank you.